ruins everything. Stay single, don't get paid, drink alcohol. Life is better.
I'm your host, Joel Hawkins. H. Jones is not here. He never is. I don't know why I keep saying that. I should change it. But I'm here with a very special guest who's actually, he has a lot of jobs, and has had a lot of jobs. But we're just going to have a conversation and get to know a lot of the jobs he's done and stuff that he loves, things like that. Just it's a podcast.
Don't follow what I do.
Don't follow.
Do not try to do what I do. I regret doing everything I do.
So go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name's Steve. You want?
That's all you want?
That's all you got, dude.
Steven. Okay. Steven Dunn.
No, I'm Steven Schnitzer. Lived in Houston my whole life. Been a fireman for over 20 years, police officer for about 17, and building new construction custom homes since I've been a child with my family.
Man, that's crazy. I mean, when I say you have a lot of jobs, you have a lot of jobs because
it's asinine.
You're one of 10 people I've met in my entire life who are like me that have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 jobs at the same time.
They all accumulate and it all balls up and it gets worse and worse and worse. And you can never catch up because when you catch up at 1, you're behind in 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's miserable. Don't do it. Don't do it.
It's
sell cocaine, snort crack, and call it a day.
It's so funny that you would say that because it's like, it makes me laugh so much because honestly, that's what you feel like half the time. It's like, can I win? Can I win?
The lottery, something.
And then you win and you're like, can I win at all the others at the same time? Can it just be like that?
Look, I'll just take one win out of all 4 or 5. The problem is you can't win.
No.
One day we'll be like the politicians and we'll win everything just because we're a politician.
Oh my goodness.
How about those elections?
Yeah, right.
So much for the red wave to take the country by storm.
I mean, I will say this, though. I don't think Beto's coming back.
I hope not.
It would be weird if he did.
He's going to Louisiana now. He's changing the spelling of his name to Beto.
But he's lost like 3 different major elections.
That's because usually he's never going to get elected.
Political
suicide.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, okay. Maybe that's his job is just campaigning. That's just his job.
Well, that's what they pay him for. They brought Will Ferrell down to Dallas for him. And Will Ferrell came down to Dallas last week, right before elections.
Did he know he was coming for that? Because let's be honest, maybe his agent just popped him in something. He just got
paid to show up. Oh, crap, it's Beto. Wrong party. Where's Abbott? I'm not the right spot.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, the election. One thing that does bother me is I saw a lot of stuff like over and over and over about like people like saying, go vote. I don't care who you vote for, just vote. And I'm like, people don't have to do that if they don't want to, because what I believe in is this is if you like someone who's going into office, you believe in what they believe in, you believe in their, I don't want to say rhetoric, perceptions or their
viewpoints.
Yeah. Bullet point. Yeah. Not viewpoints exactly, because let's be honest, they change quite often. The wind blows. But
that's so true. Today I'm saving you on taxes. Tomorrow I'm taking your taxes.
Exactly. So it's kind of and don't get me wrong, flip flop is a part of it. I just wish they would admit, yeah, I did flip flop. Like just be like, yeah, I did that. Don't be like, well, at the time circumstances meant no. Don't try to wiggle around it. But no, it's just. The viewpoint, like if you believe in the viewpoints and what their perception of reality is, okay, cool. That's fine. But the idea that you should vote for someone just because it's a side, that bothers the soul of me.
Well, the majority of people are split voters now.
Yeah.
You get a whole lot of people that are watching, and even though they're diehard Republican, they listen to some of these Republicans that aren't truly conservative.
Yeah.
So they either A, don't vote, or B, vote for the lesser of two evils, which is the Democrat that they don't want anyway, because they don't like that Republican's view. So there's a lot of split tickets now, unfortunately. And because of that, the Republican Party gets away with what they want. The Democratic Party gets away with what they want. And we're the bitch in the middle.
I'm just like, just vote for the people you believe in. Why are you voting blank ticket for just people that you don't know anything about or care about? That bothers me most of all, because to be that uninformed, you know?
It's simple. Legalize marijuana. Let everybody run lawless. And everything is fine. The world is happy.
Psychosis beyond psychosis.
The purge.
Well, like that's funny you bring that up, because like for me, like, I've had a lot of people ask, you know, are you left or you right? I'm like, I'm neither. Well, what does that mean? I'm like, I'm an independent. Look, there was a quote, I can't remember now, because even if I try to remember, I won't remember it correctly. So it'd be paraphrasing at best. It was George Washington that said that a divided house will always fall, and two-party system is a divided house. He was speaking on, well, at the time, it wasn't Republican, Democrat. It was like, oh man, I can't remember the two parties' name. It was like Democrat and or Republican and blah, blah, blah. But it was just two opposing forces that were constantly at battle with each other. And for me, I have things that I believe in that are somewhat Democratic. I have things that I believe in that are somewhat Republican. So it's like, I can't really call myself either one, and I can't vote straight ticket, because over 70% of the people I've seen that goes into office, they're just not people I would like, period, you know? And of course, someone told me once, they were like, you're not supposed to like your politician. I'm like, yeah, you should. You should have people you should have people who you actually like and you support and you enjoy their perception of reality and you want them to do some good in the world. You know, you shouldn't be like, I hate that guy, but I'm gonna vote for him because he's Republican.
And that's why we have problems right there.
And so I don't like that mentality. And I understand, yes, there is a huge percentage of people that are just lazy. That's what it is. And they don't care about politics. They don't give a crap about anything else. And it's mainly because they have nothing that are overtly affected by it. You know, like they either own their own business and they just do what they do and they're not paying attention to the rest of the world, or they work for somebody else who's kind of a friend, but they'll never let them go, you know, so they don't have anything to worry about. Yep. They're covered on that end. But
well, there's only three reasons people get involved. Yeah. And it's very simple. Reason number one is if they believe it involves them directly, their direct health, their life.
Yeah.
Reason number two, it involves somebody in their household, their wife, their child, their direct family, their direct life, their direct health. And reason number three is their direct pocketbook.
Yeah.
So until you hit one of those three key items, you're not going to get those lazy people off their butt to go out there and actually be outspoken, vote, and do what they need to do.
Well, there is a fourth one, but it doesn't happen that often. It's a rarity. Crisis, like pandemic, correct. War. Well, not war. I would say specific war.
But that affects their pocketbook and their health.
Yeah. Hitler would be, you know, a lot of people would vote for somebody who would go after that type of person, you know, because that dude was maniacal. But it's that whole internal struggle that leads people to want change of something they don't believe should be happening. And I mean, yes, a percentage of, but another percentage of people are just people who are tired of dealing with those people. Like if they saw someone who came into office or was going campaigning and did like an appropriate campaign, one, constantly pointing fingers at other people and telling them that that's what they're doing wrong and they know what to do to make it right.
Damn it, Bobby, don't do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Every time I look at you, I want to punch you in the throat.
Luann said no. No means no.
Yeah, it's just, I don't like pointing fingers. Like we all know that politicians are part of the reason why stuff gets messed up, because they're human and they make mistakes.
That's correct.
They're human and they make mistakes. They're not going to be perfect. They're not going to make this. Honestly, the thing I hate the most is the media and the
you hate yourself because this is the media.
The media bugs me because it used to be Cronkite. It used to be, here's the news, here's facts, then we're done. Everybody have a good night and be safe.
Yep.
And then it became, let's get to it first. Let's put it out there, even if it isn't really correct. And that started with newspapers when they do the printer retraction, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, don't make the mistake in the first place. You won't have to print a retraction. Well, they don't care about that. It's just who gets it out first. It's a scoop. I don't like scoops. I like just
ratings,
honest reporting.
Ratings.
No, I
Numbers.
Get it. I get that completely.
Who's watching the podcast?
Wait, what? A news podcast? Yeah, baby. Yeah, if we could just remove all rating systems from news broadcasts, that would probably help part of it.
Yeah.
And if we could make it so that, whatever company or channel has it, they have their local news option. That's going to be their news option. It's not going to change. There doesn't need to be ratings. It's there for people's purpose. So they need to
sponsor requirements. Sponsor requirements. Too many people with too much money and too much power.
Just got to be. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's just super dumb.
Would you like a sponsor? I'll sponsor you. Give you a lot of money. You can enjoy your podcast.
But I have to approve what you're doing.
But I have to approve what you say.
And I have to approve of curse word. Like I just found out if we do get approved for YouTube Partner Program, some of the Mix It Up reaction videos might not go well because I got lazy and stopped bleeping curse words. We don't say a lot of messed up stuff, but every now and then we go on a tangent.
Fuck.
Yeah. I was like, man, I thought that was going to be a little bit more free, but I get it.
Just watch everybody's YouTube podcasts.
Yeah.
Everybody's YouTube videos. Yeah. They're always dancing around what they're dancing around.
Well, except for Rogan. Rogan don't care.
Well, yeah, that's true. But look at his followership and look how much money YouTube's making off of him.
Yeah, so that's true.
That's a whole nother ballgame there. Yeah.
And advertisers love them. So
right now on YouTube, they won't even say the word Republican or Democrat. They say R and D. Like, really, just say the word. Who cares?
Makes me not want to put subtitles on it. Or not subtitles, captions.
Yep. I've been following crypto like crazy here lately. And even they're starting to dance around talk because of what's going on in the legal system, the court system. And it's getting really bad. They won't even give you the factual information because they're afraid of the SEC, but the SEC has absolutely nothing to do with their podcast or YouTube, maybe. Unless the SEC.
You never know, man. YouTube? Those guys are pretty on cut with them and the FDA are like it's funny. You never know they exist until you know.
Overreach. Oh yeah.
And then they go after you with a passion.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations. Here's your warrant. Wait a minute. You're not a cop. It doesn't matter. Here's your warrant.
Yeah, right. Well, like a friend of mine, okay, so there's these guys in Dallas. I don't know if you've heard USP Labs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, they ended up they were fighting with the FDA for years about a couple different products. And then all of a sudden they were like, this is classified as a Chinese chemical or something like that, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, they ended up losing the case. They had to liquidate like $8 million worth of product. So it was ridiculous. Their whole business shut down. The two lead owners or whatever go to prison because they were able to prove that they were functionally, faking out the public. What is that called? Tricking the public or whatever it was. Right. Anyways, that's the consensus. So they go to prison. Well, the only company that beat out the FDA on DMAA was High-Tech Pharma. And then High-Tech Pharma decided, we'll just buy all of USP's lines of product and formulas.
Yep. So while they're in jail, he just made more money.
Yeah, it's ingenious. So why couldn't USP Labs be like, hey, they're approved?
Did High-Tech Pharma rat them out?
I don't know. Well, no, FDA knew who they were because they had been fighting them for years on stuff. So they were trying to find something on them to close them down.
That's just another example of regulation by enforcement.
Yeah.
You get an agency that is not an enforcement agency that has regulatory authority who takes it too far and they enforce.
which then high-tech pharma is doing really well now because they have a whole new line of products that people loved.
Correct.
Which is cool. And they're already beat the FDA in court several times. So the FDA is not coming after them.
Nope.
But the reason being is because they were able to prove that it was a natural occurring granamine or whatever it's called. It was a natural.
Why can't everybody else have it?
Yeah, right. Well, they were able to prove it because they have all these safety guidelines and restrictions and testing. Mm-hmm. So they had like thousands of paperwork just be like, here, this proves it. And they go, like, they were hoping they didn't do anything with it, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, they were like, yeah, we've got all here. It's all structured. This is everything. It is a natural occurring substance. It's not a fake chemical, blah, blah, blah. And they were like,
good for them. I'm happy for them. Anytime you can beat the system when the system's trying to screw you over is a great day.
Yeah. And they were mad prepared. Like they prepared for it. I just wonder how much they actually got all that USP stuff for.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very curious
how much are they making off that USP stuff
because now? They grabbed them they grabbed it at a very bad time. So God only knows how much they actually paid for all the formulas and everything else. They might have been paying like 200,000% less. Like maybe gave them like $6,000 and he'll help you get out of jail. I mean, God only knows what it was, you know? Oh, I'm curious.
That's okay. Meanwhile, little guys like you and me just got to keep working 4 and 5 jobs so that we can keep the bills paid.
And then hopefully this YouTube stuff takes off.
It'll work. You'll be all right.
Because I'll have some guest hosts that are permanent guest hosts. Well, the idea was like if I could grow it, I would grow it to like a YouTube channel that would have like 3 or 4 different shows, you know? Like we're about to start releasing the trial and error stuff, which is like just little snippets of like, you know, things I've learned in my life that people have learned in their life, mental health checks, little ideas, stuff to change your perspective.
Right.
To take you out of like that negative nature of just unself-reliance. This is self-reliance is what we're trying to showcase. And then the Mix It Up reactions where 2 musicians look and watch music and talk about it in a different perspective. But yeah. And then the podcast, which is just me basically having fun with friends and talking mess and joking around.
Exactly. That's okay. So I'm thinking about adding another job to my plethora of jobs. And that's I'm going to go ahead and run for governor. Why not? Everybody else is running for governor.
Hey, Beto did
it. He lost 3 times. I'll lose every time.
Well, I think didn't he run for a senator and then ran for governor twice or something like that?
Correct.
I can't remember.
He's run 3 times. That's his 3rd.
That's got to be hard, dude.
Yeah, that shoots your ego down for sure.
Man. I don't know what I would do if that ended up happening. I'd be like, maybe I should rethink this whole thing.
I need a new career path because this is not working.
Yeah, right.
And that's part of our problem. Oh, this career path works. Oh, this career path works.
Yeah.
Let's eliminate 5 of them.
I just wish we like that and setting term limits on like senators and congressmen.
Oh, they should have done that years ago.
Yeah. Well, you know, they can't because one of the branches is going to fight that because they can't make it a career life. You know,
correct.
If they only sat for 8 years, what are they going to do after that? If their whole life has been, well, there wouldn't be their whole life. It would just be what their existence is.
Nah, it needs to go back to public service. Back in the days of people actually serving in that position. Yes, they get paid. Maybe they can get a retirement if they have X amount of years of service, but they still need to term limit them out.
Yeah. Because it's just, stuff changes, especially with technology. It changes quite often, but it's like, you don't see anyone vying for that.
Nope.
No Democrats, no Republicans, because they don't want that.
That's correct.
They want the same thing. They want to have a career in politics for the rest of their existence.
Well, my issue with all of them is very simple. It's insanity. It's insanity. If you believe something is going to change when you keep putting the same people back over and over and over again, you fall in the category with them. Stupid.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous, dude. Even as a kid, I saw this stuff and I'd be like, you serious about this guy? Like,
yep.
Like even as a kid, I was like, these people are jokes. Like one, if you have that obtainability, like your obsession with being the smartest or the funniest or the most popular guy in the room, like if you have that, you're going to go into politics because that's
center of attention.
That's an ego eater.
Absolutely.
You know?
For sure.
So it's like the people who really want to go into politics like that, why aren't we like filtering those people out?
Requirements. There's requirements for every job out there. There should be requirements for that.
I'm just saying, man, it just seems like someone who's really obsessed with that, probably not the best person to be
in that spot,
put in that position. You know?
Absolutely.
Like there was that, I can't remember
public service,
the book or the series Divergent or whatever. Anyways, they had like their class system. One of them was like very poor, lived that life existence, very simple. And those were the ones who made the decisions for the entire encampment because they didn't have needs for physical or monetization or, you know, money or anything like that. They just lived their lives. And they liked the simple life, which I honestly found that to be kind of an ingenious idea in a way. But I was like, that would never work here. It would never work here because essentially that would be the poor are making decisions for the rich.
That's pretty much what's going on right now anyway.
Kind of. Come on now.
Well, let's look at it. How many rich people versus how many poor people?
No, that's true.
So in the numbers game and the voting, the majority is outvoting the minority all the time.
The senators are
they're all retarded.
They're making lots of money. They're not just sitting there.
I agree.
Being poor. I mean, we're voting for people to be brought in to represent us. But it's like, again, with that straight ticket, split ticket crap, it's going to consistently just be shit. Instead of people believing in what the person has to say, what they're going to do, looking at their record, their consistency, do they flip flop all the time, blah, 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 blah. Instead of doing that, they're like, straight ticket Republican, straight ticket Democrat. I just don't understand it logically. I usually don't like to talk about politics because I get heated.
It's convenience. I can walk in and hit a button and leave.
Yeah.
It takes me 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Lazy.
Yeah.
But, yeah. It's so dumb. Okay. But yeah, what about the crypto space right now? So is it just ridiculous?
That's a nightmare right now.
Really?
The SEC's enforcement by just overreach has gotten out of control.
You knew that they were going to do that, though.
Of course. It's all about money and power and who wants to be in charge. The CFTC is trying to get in now, too. So right now you've got the CFTC and the SEC kind of battling it out. A battle royale for who's going to be in charge of that next big sector of money.
I want to know who got hired and raised up on the bar, who was a young gun at the SEC. And they're like, hey, you know stuff about this crypto, right? Yeah. Okay. Because no one in the higher ups knows anything about what this is or how it works. So can you come up here? Like, I feel like that's what happened.
Well, that's where Gary Gensler came in because he was teaching about that stuff over in MIT.
Okay.
He was actually teaching on blockchain before he became a part of the SEC. Imagine that, huh? So when he's at MIT, he loves blockchain, but now that he's in charge of the SEC, he's like, wait a minute, I need to be in control of this.
My goodness.
It's a security. And I don't understand that because that doesn't even remotely touch the definition of security. But then again, that's a whole nother financial podcast in itself.
I think he got a little taste of power and he just wanted some money.
That's the majority of them.
I think that's just what it is. I think that's pretty much what anybody when it comes to that position. Because like I've had people go, yeah, but Joel, you're the same way. You don't know. Look, I got offered. I don't really like talking about it because it makes people weird. But I got offered at one point in time a contract. Mm-hmm. And it was an actual decent contract, like a 2 or 3 album deal, 360 artist development, blah, blah, blah. And it was actually a decent amount of money. Mm-hmm. It was a good percentage. I turned it down because I realized that I did not want that existence. It wasn't like a super huge contract. It would have been a contract that would have sold me to a larger record label. Like that's what the manager would have been doing, you know?
Just go try out for The Voice like I did.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I turned it down because I didn't want to do it. And he was like, "Oh, you're just wasting your potential." I'm like, my potential is what my potential decides. It's what I want to do.
That's what I make it.
Because I can sing really well does not mean I want to spend the rest of my life dancing on stage singing.
Right.
Yeah. I want to be your dancing monkey. I'm not doing that.
You could be like AC/DC, who just held a concert about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And your 70s out there running your shirt off.
Yeah, right. I swear. Like, I just had this conversation last week on Mix It Up and a week before on Lucy Lenoir's podcast, but we were talking about how when it comes to like the music industry, like there was a certain cutoff year when rock musicians were still famous, like becoming famous and wildly famous. And then it was just weird. It was like a click. And then there was like 50,000 rock bands playing nationally across the stage, but none of them were really breaking through this top tier stadium play type stuff. And it was
ruined by Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera.
No, that was way before this happened. No, that was way before this happened.
All the music industry was ruined by them.
Yeah, pop and all that stuff. That's why I always laugh when someone does say something like that.
In sync.
Because I was like, dude, they were all there in the 90s, and this happened in 2010.
Yes, I know.
So it's like around 2009 or 8 or 10 or something like that. It just went click, and it was like bands just couldn't break through that upper echelon. Yeah. I don't really know what did it, and a lot of people say, oh, it was the screamo emo. That's what killed it.
COVID killed it.
Which was a decade and a half later. But yeah, it's just, but you think about it, something like that, and you're looking at it and you're like, wow, that is pretty crazy, because a lot of these, the amount of money that goes shifting around and being put into like, say, marketing and advertising and deals and all this, it's just weird. Like I am happy about the inclusivity when it comes to musicianship, because people are starting to put more money into stuff that's different. Like, you and I have lived in Texas, so we know what Zydeco is.
Yes.
We know what different flavors of Spanish style of music. If you're in San Antonio, it's going to be one way. If you're in Houston, it's going to be one way.
That's it.
In Dallas, it's going to be different too. We've spent enough time at rodeos to know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like smaller rodeos are usually more fun.
Yep.
Because they're a lot kind of like a lawless rodeo. Whereas the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo is like the MCU version of rodeos. You know, it's like cops everywhere. And but no, we know that different flavor and different style of music. You know, if you go to San Antonio near the Riverwalk, you're going to find that Native American tribes where they have the flute pans and all of that stuff. And it's really beautiful stuff. But people are becoming more interested in stuff outside of just the norm, which is what I like, because it will bring more interesting, like we wouldn't have System of a Down without Armenian folk music.
Okay.
And they're a fun band. Like
absolutely.
Absolutely a fun band. We wouldn't have Rammstein without German music or David Hasselhoff. I think he had something to do with it. No, I'm kidding. But there's
Mitch.
Yeah, right.
Report to Tower 1, Mitch.
Yeah. There's a lot of bands that have influences from different cultures and stuff. So I do like and enjoy that aspect of it. I like people learning about different cultures because that's what I was raised on. We'd go to museums in different towns and different cities, and we'd learn about the culture. We'd learn about the history of that town, of that life. My parents loved doing that, and they made us love doing that. And we ended up love doing that. Like I still every now and then will go to a museum, like just jump to a city and go. Like there was a tiny museum that used to be in Nacogdoches, which was actually pretty cool. And it was the tiniest museum I'd ever seen it was almost like it was a house and then it became a museum, but they somehow stretched the ceilings just enough to make it feel like a museum, but it wasn't. You
sounds like an 80s horror flick right there.
Yeah. It does,
it's a museum in a house at night.
Yeah, it wasn't night, thank God. But
a whole bunch of really hot girls running around.
Actually, been scary as hell at night.
Yeah, they see.
So there's like an 8-foot tall bear in the front. Yeah. Anyways, and it wasn't like a bear. Like, why isn't the bear never just looking noble? Why does it always got to look like it's trying to tear your face off?
Why do people have freaky crap in their house? Period.
Yeah, true.
Why? So years back, down in a very affluent side of the city of Houston, I make a house fire and we roll up and there's smoke coming out of the front door. And there's an old lady. She's probably in her 70s out front screaming about her house. Okay. Yeah, we got this. Don't worry. It's just another night. Thanks for waking me up at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
You know, cause you not burn your house down at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And as soon as you walk, we're gathering the hose. We're getting to the front door. My two guys are in front of me. And as soon as they walk in the front door, the first guy drops to the ground, screams and runs away. My second guy looks at me like, what the hell's going on? I was like, fuck, I don't know. Shit. So I was like, well, let's go put this fire out. You know, it comes in, he said, just runs out of the house again. I'm like, what is going on here? Is there something I'm missing? So I come around this corner and there's this weird, huge wax demon at the door. Right. And it's literally at this lady's front door. And you can't see it.
Was it Halloween?
No, this is like middle of the summer because it was hot as all get out outside. So I can walk around the corner. This big old wax demon right there at the front door. I'm like, oh shit, what the hell? You know, you punch this thing and all of a sudden it falls over. I'm like, okay, good. This is fake, right? So it's not real. Satan's not here to get me at a house fire.
Is that how this house fire happened? Did hell open up?
Shit. So I end up getting it then. We go back, we put the fire out. So after it's all said and done, we come back and the old lady's like, hey, would you not like white wax demon? It's like, damn, lady, what's wrong with you?
That is super creepy.
But yeah, man, you make it in all sorts of people's houses for all sorts of weird reasons. And you find out the weird stuff they got going on up in there.
I've always said is that most of the time you might have a tenth of the understanding of what someone's life actually is.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. You go into their house, spend some time as a fly on the wall.
You're
going to be
a
like,
lot of things you didn't know before.
I did not know Tom was into wearing high heels and cooking bacon and eggs. That's weird.
Oh my God.
But, I wish he'd said he does that. I'd be like, yeah, it's cool. Do your own thing, you know.
And women's underwear. But hey, that's normal now. Guys wear thongs, right?
And do what you gotta do. Dude, I have let's be honest though. If you look at the 80s and the 90s, dudes were wearing thongs well before that.
Banana hammock.
Oh my goodness. I mean, Borat alone, what do you wear that thing to the Grammys?
God. That ain't no lie. He wore that thing out.
Was it the banana sling suit or something?
Absolutely. He got two little straps that come over the middle.
That was frightening.
Oh, yeah.
That had to have been uncomfortable.
I
don't know. Having your package completely supported by your entire body might actually feel pretty good, like safe and secure, and it'll never move an inch.
That depends on how heavy you're running.
That is certainly true. Okay, so out of curiosity, and this is a big question I've always wanted to ask, do you watch Firefighter shows at all? And if you do you get annoyed at the inconsistency or incorrect things? Because there's so many of them.
So
because it'd be like watching me watch people design websites. It'd be boring as hell.
I don't watch cops and I don't watch fireman shows. Because if you ever want to know what's not really going on, you watch one of those shows. One of our most beat down things that we get every day. So Christmas Eve, about 4 or 5 years ago, I'm at the fire station and it's about 11 o'clock at night and the guys are gone and I'm the only one at the station. And these 4 ladies walk in and all 4 ladies are probably in their mid-30s, housewives, kids. And they bring in a cake, they bring in ice cream, they bring in like 5 pizzas. They just keep unloading food. And I'm like, man, it's 11 o'clock at night. What the heck am I going to do with all this? And then they're like, oh, hey, let's sit here and talk. I'm like, okay, man, it's 11 o'clock at night. Don't you need to go home with your husband and your kiddos or something? You know, and they're like, no, we're just going to sit here and talk. Okay, cool. And here's the question we get asked every time. Is it like Chicago fire? That is the exact question. Is it like Chicago fire? And to which my reply is the best. I'm like, absolutely. We run around with our shirts off all day long in our bunker pants and throw water on each other. So it is Chicago fire in Houston. When you watch Cops, it's hilarious. You just see the way they do it all around the nation and how different it is. And every time I watch it, I don't spend a lot of time, but every time I have watched it, I spend a lot of time going, man, I would have never done that. Or damn, I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
So it's just,
I'm just curious if it gets annoying.
it's extremely. Yeah. So you get, if you get with friends or you get with a group of people, they're fascinated by the job, which is great. And the job has its fascinating points.
Yeah.
But it gets to a point for us where it's just daily. It's normal. It's daily life. So all the crazy stuff that is most interesting to them is just it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Whatever. So I don't mind. We love answering questions and talking about the job because that's just the nature of firemen. They want to talk about themselves and they want to talk about the job and how bad they are. But when you start talking about those TV shows, you try to compare real life to the TV shows. You just keep explaining that it's not really the same thing. Yeah.
It's not meant to be. It pretends to be.
Correct. Yes.
So it's the illusion because like what they said about political shows and they said about they were like or like Law and Order, how incorrect that one is.
Correct.
And they're like, because that show wraps everything up in an episode.
And it's perfect.
And it takes.
And everybody's happy.
Months to years, and most of the time it won't make it anywhere.
Doesn't actually get anywhere.
It won't even go to court, because it hasn't been solved, or it's a cold case, or this guy
or got pled out, or the DA dropped the charge, or yada 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 yada. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a million reasons for it not to go.
It made me laugh so hard because I knew that watching it, but there were so many people who I don't know got spellbound or tricked by it or whatever. But it's not. I don't fault the show's creators.
Right.
They're trying to create a show.
They're trying entertainment.
Yeah.
That is for the purpose of entertainment.
I fault the people who don't know the difference between entertainment and
real
reality.
life.
Now, I will say this, though. For the true crime people who go, based on true events, those people need to why can't you change the name and do the story you want to do, but change the name and just make it a story about some crazy woman who killed her husband's best friend or something?
Everything you see on CSI is real. Period. In the story. Okay, look, it's real. All right. It really happened. It happened just like that. And it's perfect. If that was the case, that would be one of the easiest jobs as a police officer ever. Yeah. Because it always works out. And the paperwork is never there.
Yeah, right.
And whatever you say is what happened.
Yeah, just the consistencies of like people, like when you come to, like I always say this, when a group of humans are involved, problems will occur.
Stupidity happens.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can't get away from that. You're not going to hire an entire team of Albert Einsteins. That's not what's going to happen. No. There's not that many people in a city that are, and they're going to be doing one job. That would be Yeah. It's just it's just funny to me. Like, okay, so then there's the shows that are obviously pure comedy.
Okay.
Like Tacoma FD.
Oh yeah. Here we go. Yep.
Now that one.
All right. So most of those guys watch that for the girl, period. In the story.
Yeah. Well,
they'll sit at the station and watch that for the girl.
She is super fine. But it's funny how they make fun of themselves making fun of it's just that's the reality of it is they're like, seems like that would be counterproductive. Like they'll say stuff like that and you're like, yeah, that would be counterproductive.
That is counterproductive. Imagine that.
Like when they burn down their own station. But it's stuff like that's funny, which if people, oh my goodness, I would feel bad if I were you, if someone came up and said, is everything in Tacoma FD real? And you go, what? It's a comedy. Are you serious?
To date, the best question I've ever been asked straight up by a girl at a bar. She goes, do you fight real fire? And I was so confused. I didn't know how to answer. She's like, like real fire. I was like, well, I'm a real fireman. So I guess. And she goes, oh, okay. Well, that's cool. I'm like, all right.
Did she think you were an actor as a firefighter?
Oh, I mean, it's Chicago Fire.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
wow, that's crazy. That's almost as nuts as the stuff I used to get, which was, as a musician, automatically you are thought of as a whore.
Of course.
An alcoholic.
Mm-hmm. And druggie.
Use a crap ton of drugs. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you bang everything that moves.
So
Like-
everybody wants to be you.
Yeah. Yeah. But the most of the time I would get drunk people who come up to me and they're like, man, you seem good, man. You seem good. And I'm like, cool, man. But they'd be so close, like too close.
Personal space, man.
I can smell your breakfast.
Yeah.
You're too close.
Exactly.
Along with the alcohol you've consumed over the past 3 hours. And they'd be like, man, I wish I had your talent, man. Yeah, I do so much with it. And I'm like, oh, that's a great condescending douchebag remark. Thank you, dude. Like people I barely knew or people I didn't know would tell me this. And I'm like, well, I'm glad you're telling me you could do better with my job. If you had my talent, please fuck off.
Everyone can do better than you at your job.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. Everyone can do better than me at my job. That's just human nature.
I mean, I've always believed is that there's always going to be someone out there who's going to be faster, stronger, smarter than you.
For sure.
It's okay.
That's all right.
And that's perfectly fine. As long as you're trying to be the best version of yourself every single day, look yourself in the mirror, better yourself than the day before. I'm fine with that.
Everybody deserves a trophy. Here you go, buddy.
You can make mistakes. You can fail. That's a part of the learning process. And honestly, it's a great teacher.
Yes.
But it's funny when people will say something like that. And then they're like, yeah, I do great with it. I become famous. And I'm like, you don't know the statistics, man. The percentages of
1%ers.
It's like, well, it's not even that. It's 1% of 1% that actually become J-Lo. It's like 1% that becomes just a national act.
Yep.
You know? So it's not good rates.
You're not going to be Carrie Underwood and make it overnight. Sorry.
It's not going to be a lucrative business. If you got hunger, talent, skill, and business acumen, you can go a long way.
Yeah.
But it doesn't guarantee you're going to be Beyonce.
No.
But yeah, it's just funny to me. I was curious if people really annoyed y'all with that stuff.
All the time.
Because I've met so many firefighters and so many cops, and I always talk to them like they're normal, and they're surprised every single time.
Correct.
Like there was 2 cops at a party when we were at NAM, and we went to one of the hotels. They were having a huge blowout, and there was 2 cops there.
Mm-hmm.
And I went over and I was like, "What's up, guys?" They were like,
"Same shit,
nothing much." And I was like, "How's things going? People getting rowdy?" And they're like, "No, everything's fine. How you doing?" "I'm doing pretty good." They're like, "You want into the party?" I'm like, "No, I'm good." They're like, "Oh, really?" Like they were kind of amazed. I didn't come here for the party. I thought y'all were interesting, sitting here at the door and just chilling, having a good time, not saying a word. You look very sad and depressed, so I wanted to come over and hang out with you. They were like, "Oh, well, thank you. We're just kind of bored. You know, we're checking the perimeter and everything, make sure people don't get out of hand." I'm like, "Oh, you got to do what you got to do." Yeah. And we just sat there and shoot the shit for like 5 minutes. Yep. The rest of my friends are all like, "Come on, Zor, party, have fun.
Drink."
Yeah. And I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'm just chilling."
Like, I won't kill. It's all good.
Interesting people, meet some people, talk to some people. It's cool, man. Do what you got to do.
Well, that's human nature. Let's take this the easiest way. Guys talking to girls.
Yeah.
If a guy thinks she's hot, he's scared to talk to her. But if it's a girl that you think's hot, he will throw you under the bus all day long and run over to her and go, "What's up, girl?
Okay.
My boy likes you."
Yeah, that is so true.
It's human nature to be scared.
Yeah, it's weird.
But I did it to friends all the time, so I can't say anything.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was always like, you know, if my friend really wanted to talk to a girl or whatever, I'd wingman him. But if he couldn't keep up the conversation in the first 5 minutes,
step aside, son. Step aside.
Yeah, because if I'm going to give you an opportunity and you're going to just, you know, completely miss the backboard, then I don't think you deserve to keep going because I don't want to make her feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. The minute the girl gets quiet and feels uncomfortable, man, you kind of lost it.
Yeah. Oh, the worst one was a friend of mine, and God bless him. He's a good guy. He eventually got married and had some kids, so he's happy. But I introduced him to this girl. I was like, he really needs to meet somebody, blah, blah, blah. And sitting there talking maybe 2.5 minutes. I've got my back turned and they're beside me. And I'm like talking to the bartender. I'm actually flirting with the bartender. And I hear him go, are you okay? Is there something I said? And I went, you gotta be kidding me, bro.
Here we go.
3 minutes in the conversation and you're already going, what's wrong?
What's wrong?
What happened?
It's okay.
And I'm like, no.
Desperation. Desperate.
And I just turned around and she just looked at him like, I was like, oh, that's never a good sign. And I just grabbed his shoulder and I wheeled him around and said, hey, buddy, you want to have a shot? He was like, thank you. And I was like, I was trying to save yourself from any more embarrassment, bud. Let's just have a shot.
I find it's best to throw everybody off their feet and shock them. So you say the dumbest things ever and they get floored.
I've done that. Before. I've done crazy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Just to see what happens.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did that not too long ago to a buddy. We were sitting at Twin Peaks and he just kept Googling our waitress. Just constant. Oh, my gosh, she's so hot.
Wait, are you serious?
She's so hot. Oh, yeah.
That's super creepy.
Oh, it was hilarious. I laughed my butt off. And I was like, dude, talk to her. I mean, if you're that interested into her, she's going to take your order. Why don't you say something? We're that far in, right?
We're already there, bud. Go for it.
We've been drinking for the last 3-4 hours and the waitress comes back and she's kind of flirting. And so I laugh and I make a wisecrack just to get his attention.
Yeah.
And so I look over the waitress and I say, hey, so let me ask you something. And her name will remain. I said, if you and my buddy go home and y'all get it on, his dog jumps up on your bed and licks you in the butthole, is that a threesome?
That's pretty hardcore.
To the point where she goes, I'd just make him lock the dog out. And he sat there silent.
Are you kidding me?
I'm dead serious.
You open the window, the door, the garage, the back door, everything.
Oh, everything, dude. I threw everybody off their feet, but she rolled with it. And she kept going and he just went there silent.
See, okay. I like a woman. Dude, I like a woman who can hold her own in a conversation.
Dude, if they can roll with the punches and have a good time, that's great. That's outstanding.
It's more fun because it's more interesting. More fun.
Exactly.
Because it's really boring. Which, by the way, people, I don't really care per se, but don't get offended so much. You know, have some fun, some comedy, some humor, or something. You know, like if it's a conversation, if someone's being an ass directly, then you should say something else to them.
People get too offended about everything. Look at Dave Chappelle. Yeah. They just lined him out to host Saturday Night Live.
He dodges lasers like a mofo, though.
He does. And all of Saturday Night Live's going to bail out. Why? Because most of his jokes revolve around sexuality, whether you're gay, straight, trans. He's a comedian. He's making wisecracks about everybody, every race, every sexual orientation.
He's literally joking stories about friends of his, like stories that he's had conversations and all this stuff. And they ended up berating her to the point where she committed suicide.
Oh.
And he was pissed about that. And I don't think that was everything. She was probably going through some rough shit or had some shit she was going through because suicide rate in trans people is very high.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was a lot of factors, but they would still attribute to that. They would shit on her for being friends with him because he said some jokes. And I'm like, you can't call yourself good people. You can't.
No.
You can't do that if your community is berating one of your own for accepting someone else and being tolerant.
Yeah.
Because he's making jokes and she noticed that because she was a comedian too. I was like, nah, dude, you can't. They have no footing, no ground whatsoever.
Well, it's always a double standard.
Yeah.
There's always a double standard.
Well, it's
okay for me, not okay for you.
Yeah. It's people's inability. I think we've gotten a little too lax in the society, as in people's inability that they still have that aggressive nature and they need to fight. They need to justify. They need to have something because they need a Hitler to fight against, to rally against, to whatever else. Like they have to have this. If they don't have this, then they're, because I feel like people in the 60s, they had something to fight for, civil rights movement. You had people in the 70s fighting against, the Vietnam War and a multitude of other wars and police actions or whatever else. That was kind of the 60s too. And then you had the 80s, which was trying to fight against the Cold War and the Berlin Wall. And then you had the 90s, which was oil and, oh, there's oil. That's what they're searching for. They're only going to war because of that, Kuwait and all this stuff. And so every decade has a war.
Mm-hmm.
And every decade has people fighting or rallying or whatever else. And then, 9/11 happens and we're all justified to go after that entire pandemic, essentially, is what it felt like. But so that's kind of it feels like every time.
Don't kick my camera.
Did I hit the camera?
Yeah,
I didn't see it.
You almost knocked it over.
I hope the angle didn't change. It'd be my luck. That's what happened.
Hey, who cares?
I got to get a new system. This is hilarious. Why I want the hero camera attached to the table.
I got you.
On stabilizers.
I'm worthless. I got it. I'm a retard. I completely forgot.
That's not what it is, man. That's not what I mean.
Horrible friend. Horrible friend. Should have never come over.
Just one day I'll come over and let me borrow it for a day so I can test it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah. So I just think people are trying to fight just because they need something to fight about.
Oh.
I feel like that's where a good amount of the stuff we've had to deal with in the past 100 years has been, because we're not trying to survive disease or industry. Technology has made us life a little easier, that we're now looking to fight for something because we need something to fight for.
Human nature is tension.
But I'm just saying, let people do what they want. This is how I live. Do what you want, how you want, whenever you want, whatever you want.
Make money.
As long as you don't infringe upon the civil liberties of other people's, then you're cool. Do what you want. You can do whatever you want. As long as whatever you do doesn't try to dictate or control me, then we're good. And vice versa.
Yeah. That'd
be cool. But no one wants to do that.
No. Everybody wants you to do what they do. And more. So we started with the cop fireman house thing and talk politics, and
we went everywhere.
Nowhere.
Well, we've said a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah.
I wish I watched that.
It's okay.
Dude, that's how podcasts work, though.
Yeah.
It's not like we're trying to solve problems. We're just bringing them up so people know.
Johnny Carson. Here we go.
Yeah.
Makes up crap as you go.
Well, you did tell some cool fireman stories.
Did tell one, I guess.
Yeah, a couple.
Okay. Well,
remember the lady with the demon?
Oh, the lady with the demon's crazy. Yeah. And the ladies that come to the station and bring us stuff. Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah. Which that part I didn't know that they were doing that. That's weird.
I'll say this. It really depends on the side of town that you work on. There are some areas of town where they don't want to have anything to do with you.
Yeah.
And there's some areas of town where they absolutely love you and they will do everything for you and take care of you and the station and the trucks, and God help the politicians of the city if they mess up. It really just depends on the people that live around your station or the community around your station, because we have stations that are business. Oh, it's all food bar.
Yeah, because we've got one that's right around back through here.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how they keep putting them in places like that, like hidden in the back of a neighborhood behind this where there's no other roads but one that scoops around.
Nobody wants to hear the siren go off at 2 a.m.
Yeah, I get it.
And then at the same time,
I've honestly gotten used to that.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the same time, it goes based by response area. And timing.
Makes sense. Because that place would be able to get to a lot of places off of 249, a lot of places, because it's literally right on that cusp right there in the back end. So you could take a road out that way or road out this way.
Hit the freeway and punch it.
Makes sense. Good location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody was smart.
Yeah, right. Yay for the city planner that time. But yeah, what about the cop thing? Like, do you still miss doing that? Because I know you don't do it right now, don't you?
No, pretty much not anymore. It had its ups and downs.
I know you had issues having to constantly justify pay and stuff like that, and
that's the fire department.
That's the fire department.
Okay.
What was the
cops get paid real well.
Okay.
Firemen get paid horribly.
And that's the one you stayed with.
And that's the one I picked. Boy, was I so smart.
Well, they had better benefits though, didn't they?
Used to.
They don't anymore.
Not anymore.
Oh, yeah. Sucks.
Yep. No, talk about making the wrong decision. Stupid.
Oh, that sucks.
But yeah. No, yeah. Being a police officer was a lot of fun for the years that I did it. I spent more time as one of the medics that serviced high risk stuff than I did most other stuff, which because I'm a fireman paramedic, you take care of them. So I spent more time helping the guys out more than I guess the community itself as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, the headache there, the poor guys in law enforcement have such a headache now. It's bad.
I would assume that it's literally you have a split bunch of people. You're either going to meet someone who's like, I need more money. Or you're going to meet someone who's like, you need less money. Like,
for sure.
I would feel like that's the two sides. There's no other side.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. In the city, in Houston, it is definitely split. Probably more so better for the fire service than the law enforcement.
Yeah.
The politicians of the city favor law enforcement, and there's reasons why they favor law enforcement. Imagine that. Every time you get pulled over when you're drunk, when they catch you with the hookers and the prostitutes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they tend to get paid very well just to keep them happy and move along.
Yeah.
The citizens tend to like firemen a bit more, but the firemen are more of a service agency.
Yeah.
The firemen serve you more than law enforcement does. Not that cops don't serve, but firemen are out there for everything. You call 911, what do you get? Fire truck. You call 911, you have a medical problem, what do you get? Fire truck.
So ambulance. Really, cops only get called when there's enforcement needed.
Only when there's enforcement needed, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, they run a lot of stupid calls. Don't get me wrong. We've run a lot of stupid calls as a cop. So don't get me wrong. But I could tell you that the ratio of stupidity between police and fire, the fire and paramedics have the stupidity definitely outnumbered 25-30 to 1 on the police officers.
Yowza.
So the only reason that people tend to favor, again, the firemen more is because it's just solid service.
Yeah.
They're being served. And so the politicians use it as their golden egg, their golden child. Hey, we can get the fire department to do that and then we'll look good. And it's all said and done.
Yeah. So it's like gas leak, cat in a tree, kids missing, blah, blah, blah. I mean, like if a crime is involved, then it's called the cops.
Police. Yes. Correct.
Doors. Oh yeah. The door is locked. Oh my goodness.
Get that all the doors. Time. Oh dude, we had over Memorial. There's a couple guys that work for NASA and they all live on the same street in a cul-de-sac. And one of them, this guy works for NASA, builds rockets. Okay.
I already know where you're going with this.
I hope he hears this. Oh my God. Calls us out because he can't figure out how to turn his yard sprinklers off.
What?
Yeah. So we come out and he's like, hey man, how do I turn these off? They're the yard sprinklers. They're on a timer. They're going to go off. He goes, no, they don't. Like, yeah, they do. No, they don't. Yeah. Well, let's go in and look at the timer. So we go in there, we show him the timer like, hey, it's got 14 minutes left. He goes, but they won't go off. I said, cool, great. Turn it to the off position, turned around and walked out and drove off. And we send fire trucks to that all day, every day. Your tax dollars at its best.
I mean, at this point, wouldn't you just Google it?
I could literally do 100 podcasts for you with the stupid calls that we roll through daily.
Do you know how many times I've called police or fire? 0 times, period.
Correct. Same.
Wow.
But then again, it might be retarded if I call myself when I'm already there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Wow. I mean, I can't even, I don't even know. I don't think any of my family has ever called the police or firemen.
Hey, we have people call us out literally 911 for birthday parties.
What?
Send the fire truck. We got a birthday party. 911.
Wow.
Send the fire truck. We got a birthday party. A bunch of kids. Oh, bro. It's crazy.
I thought that was a crime.
It is, but it'll never be enforced. It's a Class C misdemeanor. It'll never be enforced.
I mean, that's like the most selfish douchebaggery.
Oh, yeah.
Not to mention dangerous, because if you guys happen to like not, for instance, not understand that dispatch released them. Oh, there's a fire at a birthday party.
Correct.
And the fire truck gets there. We just missed a fire in Altoona. A bunch of people died. So you just caused a bunch of people their life, you know?
It happens more than you think.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I have nothing to say to people. That is ignorance.
Run for city council. Take over. Be the mayor. You can fix our problems.
Oh my goodness. No, because you can't fix stupid. No, that's horrible. Why would you do that? I mean, you'd have to make it like a pretty heavy crime, but at the same time, who's going to really get punished? The kid at the birthday party.
Exactly.
Yeah. Part of me, and I know this is wrong because I'm not really about this, but part of me wishes we could. Oh, this sounds horrible. I'm not going to say it. Never mind. Part of me wishes we could, I don't know, check people's intelligence and just be like, hey, you probably shouldn't procreate. I'm just saying.
That's why I don't have any kids, because I'm too stupid.
Yeah, right.
I don't need a whole bunch of stupid news running around.
No.
Hey, Dad, I need 11 jobs. No, you don't, son. Shut up.
Yeah, right.
You need one.
Well, I will say this, though. For the people who do have the one job, I have seen people like you and me always able to survive.
Correct.
And I have seen someone who worked a job for 35 years and the plant closed down and they literally were just
lost everything.
What the hell do I do now?
Yep.
I have nothing.
I don't know what to do in life. Oh, yeah.
Especially when they lost their pension or whatever else, or the guy fronted it and what is it? Embezzled it or whatever.
Laundered.
Yeah. Just that has to be just defeated. Oh, completely defeated.
No doubt.
You did a job, you did it well for 35 years, and then you were supposed to retire in 5 and
boom, it's over.
Boom, gone.
Yep.
You have nothing left. You're working as a bagger at a grocery store.
That's those big corporations. They know the payout's coming and they find a way to weasel around it. It's sad.
It's super sad.
Yeah. But nowadays, it looks like we're going to have to work 2 and 3, 4 jobs just to afford gas.
Yeah. And rent. My goodness.
Well, dude, renting apartments is worse than homes, if not the same.
Did you hear about, which this is actually kind of funny. There's this lawsuit happening where renters are suing RealPage. Okay. I told you about that, right?
No.
RealPage is the AI software that calculates market value for all these landlords and apartment complexes. They're being sued because they're saying it's a monopoly that all these landlords are getting together and they're slowly raising rent every single year.
Because of the program.
Because of the program is what they're calling it, market strategy. But even the guy who owns the company that made the program is like, yeah, like in his marketing stuff for apartment complexes to sign up with them is like, yeah, regular like clockwork, we see a rise of 4%, like clockwork, like 2-3 times a year. So I'm like, and when you look at it, it's literally been raised 20% since 2015. You can't blame the pandemic on that.
No.
So I'm sitting here like, okay, well, that's kind of iffy. Then I just so happened to talk to when I was re-signing my lease. I was like, man, y'all upped it again this year? She's like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Now I have all this revamped everything, new appliances. That's more than most apartment complexes do. So I can justify that. Most apartment complexes will put in some panel flooring or like the laminate wood fake stuff. And then repaint it for the 50th time where you could almost push your finger through the sheetrock because it's so
dirty.
Yeah. I wish they just strip the whole apartment and put it back up. I know it's expensive, but
paint a roach over on the wall.
I mean, you get a crack and the crack is so painted over that it gets wider, and then it's just the wall. But no, it's but so I have a little bit more value than the average person.
Right.
But I asked her, I was like, out of curiosity, you wouldn't have to be using the software that's being sued right now, RealPage. And she goes, yep, that's what we use. And I went, so I'm sitting here like, so you guys raised it, just raised it. But
just because
I've been here so long, it's not as expensive as it would be, but I'm still paying a ridiculous price. I mean,
that is never going to come down. They got blood in their mouth now. They can taste it. So they're like, oh, yeah.
Because it used to be managers, company managers or whatever else feared raising it too high because then people would stop renting.
That's it.
But they're in their minds, while houses are expensive, they're just gonna just milk it for everything they can because they know people have to live.
Well, that market's coming down.
It is.
That market's coming down hard.
They're gonna hold on it as much as they can.
Yeah. When you get people from California moving in, New York moving in, New Jersey moving in, and they have a property that's, $100 million.
Yeah.
They come over here when they pay off that property, they've got $10, $12 million in their pocket. They can own the world. I mean, $12 million in Texas is insane.
They could pay for what would cost them 25 and 50 mil in New York. They could pay 2-3 mil here.
Absolutely.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah. So the realtors
actually get it 30% bigger.
Oh, yeah. And I'm about to step on a lot of toes, but realtors are drastically to blame here because the realtors get that commission off that sell. Yeah. So they come in and they're like, no, we can get 100,000 more right now. So let's go ahead and take this and do it 100,000 more so they can get that extra 3%, extra 6% of whatever that margin is.
And when you have that,
it continues.
And you have it so it builds the market to a high, ridiculous profit.
And right now, the mortgage companies are saying that we're 34% overvalue in Texas, where we should be because of what the real estate market's been doing over the last 3 years. So we're about to have a bubble burst, and it's going to crash. And you can see that happening right now because the houses that are listed on the market that have been on the market for 4, 5, 6 months have already come down $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. So if you can hang tight for another 6 months to a year,
I'll be able to get a house pretty cheap.
Right back down to what it actually should be. Now, the people I feel bad for, to be honest, are the people who bought during that time.
Yeah,
because they're already upside down.
Because their property values,
value is going to drop,
tank,
and their tax rate's going to be up, and they've already paid all that extra money.
This is why, like, I have friends who are realtors, and they're more honest realtors. They're not shady like that. But, realtors are trying to sell, they're trying to do stuff, trying to hustle, trying to make money. And I was like, I had them telling me, hey, I can get you a house, but I'm not paying over market price. No. And they're like, well, no, this is the market now. I'm like, no, it's not. It will not. It's a bubble. It's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. COVID created it or gave the excuse for it to happen. It didn't actually create it. In fact, people were probably living in their houses and not moving at all because of that. But
pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. So pandemic. That's actually the first time I've heard that, period.
Oh, really?
And I know someone said it before.
For sure. Yeah, it's been said.
But no. Yeah. So
I coined that word. YouTube, it's mine.
It's mine. I'm the first person. Now I need to
be the person who can hear.
So yeah, I would say like they were telling me, you can get a house, but I'm not paying over market. Well, you can get it right at the beginning of the pandemic. I was looking at houses and I found one that was like a 1960s or 70s house. Good bones, good structure, very unique build. Like in the center was an octagon.
Historical value.
Yeah. That went down 1 step, 2 step, but it was like most of it was a couch in the octagon. Yeah. And it had a fireplace right in the bottom with a vent that came all the way down.
70s porn house.
Exactly what it was. Whoa. And it had a very large, like acute catwalk that went to a separate bedroom.
Porn house.
Yeah. It was on the 3rd floor. So then you had
a fireman's pole.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's all you would need.
That's all you need.
Fireman's pole. Scratch fever.
What's up?
But it had like skylights throughout the whole thing, and it had all this stuff. It was definitely a 60s or 70s, either an opium den or something.
Oh, no doubt.
But it looked really cool, though. If you had decked it out in new actual carpet and decked it out in proper wood, it would have actually been a really cool place. So I was like, man, dude, I could easily do this out. I mean, even like the cool thing about it was part of the house went over. And you could actually park 4 or 5 cars underneath the house. So the 2nd floor was over the top of it. It was actually very convenient.
That's cool.
You could have had a garage there, but yeah, it was nice that you could literally just drive all the way through and go out. So the whole road went around.
Right.
Of course, that seems a little dangerous in the backyard. Your kids are playing. All of a sudden, someone's peeling around that side. That'd be a little dangerous.
Depends on how much you drink. Honey, I'm home. I ran over the kids. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I have a 5-year-old doll in the back. Tell the kids stop leaving their clothes out there.
But yeah. No, it was a cool house, and I was going to be able to grab it for like $62,000. And it would have only needed probably roughly around 50 to 60K worth of work.
Probably could have got that.
But it would have been worth probably 300,000 or 400,000 because it also sat on like 4 or 5 acres.
Oh, you should have bought that.
And it was a corner lot too, man.
You should have bought that.
No, I know. I'm a friggin' idiot because it was like 6-7 days later, and I was still thinking about it and tumbling around. And it was 6 or 7 days later, and someone saw that and put it under contract immediately or pending contract. And I went,
yeah.
Yeah. And then a month and a half later, the pandemic drops and everything gets shut down.
Yep.
I lose my contracts out of Cali, and I'm like, oh, no. And I didn't work on a project for that company. Those contracts that I lost, I didn't work on a project for them till now.
Yeah.
So
that was the time for you to use your button.
2 years. Yeah.
See.
See, at least you remembered. Succession. Steven remembered. Joel didn't. But yeah, it was dude, I still have dreams about that. Like I have dreams about that house, like me walking in, okay, we're gonna do this to it. But Joel, you don't own this house. Oh, tell me that. Like
to be fair, there's a lot of people that still have dreams about that house.
Oh yeah, that's the one thing I don't want to think about.
You're going to strip that house to the studs and start from scratch.
Yeah, obviously.
Like,
I'm gonna have to like
walk in there with the black lights,
sandblast the entire concrete underfloor just from the drips.
Yep.
Yeah, it was
bleach.
Yeah, bleach. It was a beautiful house though.
By
well done.
Clorox.
Well done. Well, it was like it even had trees, like a decent amount of trees around it, but it was covering all the windows of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So you could see over the road, but like not, it was a really nice setup. And I just feel like a friggin' idiot because then I saw that house was under contract and sold. What was it? Like someone actually flipped it, like decked it out, sold for $290,000.
Oh.
And I went,
lesson learned.
Because I would
don't do it again.
If I'd gotten that in a loan, I would have been able to do that whole house in 120K, maybe 130. Mm-hmm. Oh, that would have been so annoying. And if I'd sold it now, probably just sold for $300,000-$400,000.
Yep.
Ridiculous. Anyways, well, honestly, it was fun having you here, man. Talking mess
again.
and joking around and whatnot.
Yeah.
Oh, Steven, you rock. I call you Steven. Why did you say Steve?
I don't know.
Does people call you Steve?
All the time.
Does any family members call you Steve?
Yes.
Oh, crap. Okay.
Yes.
That's usually the nomer is like, you know, if your family can call you that, that's probably a name you should use. I'm
good until I hear my full name. When I hear my full name, I just run.
Yeah, true.
I don't care what you call me, but if my full name comes out, I'm out of here.
I'm booking it. I'll see y'all later.
See ya. I've also said, if I ever pull up to the house and there's 2 black Cadillacs in the driveway, I'm leaving.
Oh yeah. Just
I'm never coming back. I'm just going to roll right by.
Do what you got to do, bro.
Sneak in and get my dogs and roll.
Well, it's good having you here, man.
Thank you. Let's do it again.
We had fun.
All right, bro.
See you guys later.